And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, all about helping you win in any marketplace. As we say, almost 10 years, almost a full decade on air here. And we take great pride in being that consumer advocate to help you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We like to feature our real estate listings live on air, and we got a hot listing coming up here at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive, actually active listing on MLS. It's a $1.159 million listing right here in beautiful Tampa Bay, 5,000 square foot home. It's in the estates at White Trout Lake in Carrollwood. Beautiful property, granite countertops, new appliances, heated pool and spa. Got a large fenced-in corner lot here, 5,253 square feet, 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. One of our beautiful listings at the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Now, we're also helping one of our friends up in Carolina get some exposure from one of his listings. This is 530 Heaton Forest Road in Cashiers, North Carolina. Bill DeVore, Keller Williams Realty Real Estate Group. Bill DeVore Real Estate Group is the listing agent on this. 530 Heaton Forest Road, Cashiers, North Carolina. 8,080 square feet, 20-acre property, magnificent country estate in the mountains of western North Carolina, God's country. Just a beautiful place right here in North Carolina in the southeast United States. Home features breakfast porch, patio. You've got a barn with horse stalls there if you are into the equestrian lifestyle. The home features a breakfast porch, patio, 4 fireplaces for cool mountain evenings, attached 2-car garage, and a 2-car carport. Expansive stone driveway space as well, and you have a separate guest house that has 3 bedrooms and a sitting room. Gorgeous property, compliments of Keller Williams Realty, Bill DeVore Real Estate Group up in North Carolina, and you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we got a great lineup for you today. Nate Ginter going to be on the program. Nate is our expert for all things tech-related, tech expert Nate Ginter on the Consumer Quarterback Show, as well as attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. Attorney Jason Kobal, you've heard him on the show, a longtime friend of the program. And we got Captain Will Smith in the house. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be in studio again, Brandon.
Yeah, man. I like the studio visits better than the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. But I know you're jet setting around the country,
I'm all over the place.
The southeast, and going to, what's the furthest trip you've ever made with your pilot?
Non-stop. We went out to play at Pebble Beach out in California.
Nice.
So it's about 4.5 hours Tampa.
Cool.
Out there to that area.
Those long distances really matters where that headwind's coming from and tailwind, right?
If you're going west, it's usually longer. Coming back, it's a lot faster. So we try to get in the upper level atmospheres where we get a 50 or 60 knot tailwind. So it really pushes us across the ground really fast. And we get home quicker than we got out there. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So Captain Will Smith Aviation here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, also published author, written 2 books, Falling from the Sky, which we are in the process of taking to a movie, and also Ditches to Riches, that is. And yeah, man, a lot of ground to cover. Where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, we'll talk about we haven't talked about the movie thing. We're kind of in a slower progression towards the movie with Falling from the Sky, and for a couple of reasons. Right now, the way the cost of making the movie is going through the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
So a year ago we were getting quotes on we need this much, and now it's time to pull the trigger. And because of on the border of a recession, gas prices through the ceiling, cost of living going up, everything else is going up. And the investors, they want to wait until November to see what happens. Because that's going to be a big game changer for us. Because the investors that we had are just going to let's just kind of see and wait till November. It's no rush right now, which there isn't. But it has to be the perfect time to do this. And with all the wokeism that's going on right now, it's just that's not helping matters either with my story. So we're still moving forward. We've still got the treatment out there. We got a lot of positive things, but we're going to wait until November and see what happens. Ditches to Riches is concerned, we're still out there helping people, still working with cons, helping cons. I was reading a study today that 61 to 65% of people that are incarcerated in the U.S. are in there, and they shouldn't be in prison. whether it's an oversentencing or whether it's a wrongful conviction. That's a lot of people that are serving time that shouldn't be serving time.
That seems like a high stat.
65%. 61 to 65% of the people, now this is throughout the U.S., that are in prison shouldn't be in there. Now, that means, I'm sure a lot of that is people that are over-sentenced. That happens. Over-sentencing happens a lot. And the reason being that our institutions or corporations, they make money. Yep. If you do not have prisoners in there, you do not get those grants from the federal government anymore. So just like any corporation or institution, you have quotas that you have to make.
Yeah.
You have to keep a certain amount of prisoners incarcerated in order to get that grant. And what do we know about grants or funding? If you're given $20 million a year and you only use $15 million of it, guess what happens next year? You only get $15 million. So in order for them to, and the big scary thing about prisons, they're starting to come more privatized, which makes it even worse.
Wow.
Because now you have a single individual that's running the prison. It's not going to be run by a government institution, which makes the prices go higher. Now those government grants and that government money, instead of going to help the prisoner, is going into a corporation's pocket, and they have to pay their guards out of their own pocket, which increases what it costs to house a prisoner, which increases how much tax comes from the state and federal government. So what does that say to us as the taxpayers? We're going to start paying more for that if they start privatizing it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to have more rehabilitation type programs to help people, get back out in their, just like Cons helping Cons, Free to Serve, Thomas Younk, and Captain Will Smith was instrumental in helping Thomas with that. It makes so much more sense to get them out of the prison, back into jobs, back into tax-paying citizens. They're going to be buying real estate. They're going to be spending money as consumers, getting them back out and contributing back to society. But I understand what you're saying, that it's kind of a trap for a lot of them. Once they get in there, then they get stuck in this situation where they are in that system. And it is a business. The prison system is a business, and
prisoners are their biggest equity. And the more that you push through, the more money that you get.
Right.
And they don't want to see us in recidivism rate.
Right.
A lot of these guys are in there, they become, over a certain period of time, become institutionalized. Well, what does that mean? You get so used to being incarcerated and so used to the routine from 9 to 5 every day. When you come out, you don't know how to live. You don't know what to do. Right. Because you're always asking permission to use the bathroom, always asking permission to take a shower, always asking permission when they can go get something to eat.
Yeah.
You always have to ask permission to go from one area to the other. So if you do that over a period of 15 or 20 years, when you come out here, you're like, I don't have to ask permission anymore.
I can only imagine how it's ingrained.
Where am I supposed to go to eat now? I was told to go here. It's kind of like a training, and I hate to say this, a rat. That the rat always knows where the cheese is.
Well, how much of it is also learned behavior, kind of like what you're saying, is where, it's a learned behavior where they are accustomed to having their meals provided versus now, if I get released, I got to go out and I got to earn money. Yep. Somehow I got to figure out how to convert that money into a homemade meal, or, go to Popeye's Chicken or whatever and buy the food. So it's that whole, reacclimation process, I think, that also scares people a lot of times.
It does, and that's why we do what we do when we with the programs that we have and we've set up with Thomas Younk at Cons Helping Cons, with me, Ditches to Riches, and the workbook. We break it down for them. They're literally on a 90-day program to where we give them that ability back and say, hey, the biggest thing for people that have been incarcerated or locked up for 15 or 20 years is the technology coming out. When they went in, people were using telephones, payphones. There were no iPads or iPhones or anything of that nature.
Right.
They went in, when cars, you had to drive a car. The car didn't drive itself. So the technology that they have to overcome, when they get out, it's going to be challenging as well. So we allow them the time to be able to find a job, to be able to be self-efficient, to be able to reacclimate into the community as a returning citizen, as well as learn the technology that's out there.
Yeah.
Because if I was going to hire somebody to work in my office, just even if it was a tech job, they don't have the ability to teach that type of technology in prison, nor do they teach it. They're just now introducing iPads into prison. So
Yeah.
yes, prisoners do now have iPads to use, but they're limited on how they can use them.
Yeah.
So they're starting to learn it, but there's a lot of technology from 20 years ago to today that they have
yes.
to catch up on.
Yeah, a lot of changes. We're talking with Captain Will Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's a pilot. He owns his own company, Will Smith Aviation. You can find him online. He's active on social media as well. And I wanted to play a quick clip here. You and I have a lot of the same beliefs as far as political side goes, but I thought this was interesting. Last week, one of the judges in Texas ruled that it was actually an invasion happening at the southern border. I want to play a quick clip from one of the other podcast news programs I listen to.
The judge here in Texas ruled as a matter of law that Texas is being invaded, specifically Kinney County, Texas. And that is the first time in American history that legal conclusion by a judge has ever been made. Now, if Governor Abbott, we're in Texas, so if Governor Abbott came to the same conclusion, just declared the invasion, his constitutional authority would be triggered to go ahead and repel that invasion. And all we're talking about here is putting people back across the border. It looks exactly like Title 42 does today, except it's state officials doing it. National Guard, DPS, you can deputize all of your local law enforcement, all the brave men and women we heard from here today can all participate.
Pause it there. But when you look at the southern border, the drugs coming across, the gang activity, just the invasion that's been going on for a long time. Finally, I just can't believe how slow sometimes these courts take to react. But good for Kinney County, that is in Texas, that the judge declared it an actual invasion.
Well, I agree with that. I've been saying this for over a year now. If you were an illegal person and brought in an illegal firearm and killed an American citizen illegally, that would be you're being attacked.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing, but they're using drugs.
Yeah.
And people are dying coming across the border. And unfortunately, the Democrats are just sitting back and doing nothing about it. And, there's nothing to see here. Well, yes, there is.
Yeah.
Our country is being attacked.
Yeah.
Our country is being invaded. I jokingly, a while back, I was like, well, maybe if the military got involved and started lining up bodies to build a wall, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And think about the amount of rapes that are happening, too. Underage children getting raped just because they're making that journey. And these you can't blame the immigrants. I mean, they're saying, hey, I got an opportunity to go into America. You hear about the American dream. You hear about all these stories. So you can't blame them. You got to blame the administration and the policies.
Well, we have a process to allow that to happen.
Exactly.
It's a legal process.
That's right.
Just like if I got a driver's license, I have to go through a legal process to get a driver's license to drive a car. I can't just jump into a car and start driving up and down the street.
Yep.
Because that's illegal.
Yep.
And I can get arrested for that, and I can be put in jail for that.
That's right.
I have to go through the legal process. In any situation, when you have something like that, there's a legal process that has to be followed.
Yep. All right, Captain Will Smith, that's about our time for today. How do you want people to reach out to you, support Cons Helping Cons, support the movie project Falling from the Sky, basically creating a movie out of your life journey? How do you want people to connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me if they just want to find out everything that I'm doing. Go to CaptainWillSmith.com. That way you can see about the movie, what's going on. You can reach out to me. You can email me. You can also, Cons Helping Cons with Thomas Younk. Reach out to him. We're always looking for donations to help the people that are re-entering into our society with housing. That's our biggest struggle right now. So we need housing for them to where they can become successful and they don't wind up going back into prison.
Yep. All right. Good stuff. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
And
Take
have
care.
a safe flight today.
Right.
I know you're off to the airport.
Yep. See ya.
Coming up, attorney Jason Kobal on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Jason Kobal, KobalLaw.com, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Coming up on the show, we always have some great conversations around injured workers, personal injury law, and others here on the show. Plus, our feel-good story of the day, 17-year-old returns woman's lost purse and gets a $15,000 reward. Pretty cool story in our feel-good segment coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey everybody, it's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy Brandon Rhymes, a Consumer Quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with us here. We always like to help our sellers profit more and sell faster, utilizing our innovations with radio, TV, and internet marketing for our real estate business, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We've got a hot listing here in Dade City. This is a property at 14121 7th Street, Dade City. We got a restaurant for sale. Great opportunity. You got the high walkability of this downtown area at 7th Street in Dade City. You also have a apartment on site, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment on site. So established restaurant, downtown Dade City. You got a downstairs dining room. You got an upstairs room as well for banquet hall. And the sale includes the furniture and equipment, and it's a perfect entrepreneurial investment. Plenty of parking at 14121 7th Street, Dade City, one of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Let's stick with the commercial properties. I got another one at 507 South Prospect Avenue in Clearwater. This is a commercial listing from the Platinum MVP team. You got 2,624 square feet, 12 rooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's a 2-story office building, commercial office building. And you've got an opportunity to rent out some space. Maybe you have a law practice or a real estate business, a title company. You want to have a certain amount of rooms for your staff, but you could also rent out the other rooms for your other potential income. And it's right off of Gulta Bay near downtown Clearwater. You got a newer roof and HVAC systems, and it's 10 minutes from Clearwater Beach. 507 South Prospect Avenue in Clearwater, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, we got attorney Jason Kobal in the house. Kobal Law, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason, so you're pretty busy out there. I know you're doing a lot of different types of law. Let's start maybe with just a little bit of an overview. Work comp, personal injury law, and what else did I miss there?
Personal injury, workers' comp, Social Security disability, so all injury types. Any kind of injury, whether you want to get on disability because you can't work anymore, or you get hurt at work, or you get hurt in a car accident, or slip and fall, someone's at fault. Any injury law I do. And then, of course, I do fair debt as well for illegal billing. And then more recently, this past year, defamation, which has been cool.
Yeah, defamation. Speaking of that, you've got a kind of a case going on with the major news organization.
Yep. I can't get into the details of who I represent, but it's a big federal case against CNN, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. And I'm local counsel, So
Nice.
the lead counsel is a great attorney, Steve Biss from up Virginia, D.C. area. And he's represented a lot of big time people over the years.
Yeah.
Fighting the fake news. And it's just a great experience to be part of it. We're going to mediation soon, and if we can't settle, then we got a motion to dismiss that I expect to win. So
wow,
it's very exciting.
That is cool, man.
It's cool to see. They have a lot of attorneys on their side.
Yeah,
it's very cool just to watch it all play out. And
well, just think about all the money they're getting from Pfizer, Moderna, you name it, right? I
mean,
it's
like Warner Brothers owns them, so they got plenty of money.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what happens.
But in some cases, I mean, when you think about big companies like CNN and the other companies, right across the board, I don't have to name them, MSDNC, all these different companies, the dollars are there. I mean, they're running these, they're doing whatever they got to do to upset and politicize events and coming after people, but when they do defamation, let's start there. What is defamation and how do you prove it?
Okay, so a normal, say your client is a regular person, not a famous person. That matters a whole lot in defamation. If it's a regular person and the media, somebody does a story that is false and damages you, so meaning whether it's death threats, which have caused psych issues, or it's hurt your career. There's quantitative ways you get experts to basically assess how much the damages are. But it's that simple. And then the way that the media outlet could overcome that is just prove the story is true. That's it. You prove it's true, you'll win every time. That's the number one defense to any defamation case.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's them talking about it on air, saying what you're saying that they're saying, and it's undeniable proof that it's hey, here's the clip.
Yeah, exactly. That's so it's pretty straightforward. And if they can't prove that what they reported is true, it's going to be tough for them. Now, if you represent somebody who's a public figure, then you have to prove malice. So not just that it was false, that it's basically they did it on purpose. You would need a lot more evidence than just the one incident for that. So
is that kind of like the Johnny Depp situation with, I guess, his former lover?
Yeah, they both
whatever.
actually prevailed. So that jury obviously felt there was malice on both ends there. It's just Johnny Depp got the better of the two outcomes.
Wow.
But because they're both public figures for sure. And
yeah, that's right.
Sarah Palin, I know she just lost a case to CNN, or maybe it was the New York Times. I forget, one of those two.
Oh, really?
Because unfortunately, it's tougher when you're a public figure, and you can't. It's very tough to prove malice. I mean, you basically you have to have proof of what's going on inside someone's head.
Yeah.
So very difficult to do. So that's why you'll see a lot of lies being told about public figures, because they know we can't be sued.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just a weird situation. It seems like if they can prove the facts are on their side, then there should still be, just because they're a public figure, why can you lie about it?
That's the way it is. It's a higher standard. And then another law that gets abused is you'll see a lot of, say, Adam Schiff. You see a lot of congressmen and women lying on the media in interviews, because you can't sue them for defamation either, or they're protected
because they're a senator or house rep.
And as long as the law is basically the case law says, as long as they could say that what they were saying had something to do with their role doing relative to what they're doing as a congressman or woman,
right,
then you can't sue them, even if it's false. So that's why you see a lot of baloney. People don't even realize it's happening.
Our forefathers who wrote our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, our Bill of Rights, what would those great men be thinking? Because I know they were men of moral character. I mean, they were men of high character, and as much as the left tries to claim, they were slave owners. Yeah, exactly, the whole deal. These men knew it was wrong. They put these checks and balances and these systems in place, and the Northwestern Passage specifically banned new slave ownership. So what do you think they would say about this?
Oh man, they're rolling over in their graves. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that I thought we would never abuse.
Right.
And I'm seeing it happen left and right. Like, for example, you see this January 6th committee.
Yeah.
It really drives me crazy, and it's not getting enough coverage as far as people aren't speaking out. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
What it is they're saying, we're a congressional committee, so this isn't a real hearing, so we could not follow the rules of evidence. We could rely on hearsay. But if you look at what they're doing, they're trying to convince people that a citizen, Trump, committed a crime.
It's a soap opera.
Yeah, but it's a Hollywood produced. They put our taxpayer money. They hired a producer.
Exactly.
But they're trying to prove someone committed a crime, yet they're not following the rules that our Constitution Constitution provides people who are accused of
I want to
crime.
ask you more about that because there's no cross examination. There's no other side to what they're doing,
and it's disgusting.
It is. It's so bad. Attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Kobal Law, TampaWorkCompLaw.com, ConsumerQB.com, and we'll be right back more with Attorney Jason Kobal. We're going to dive deeper into the January 6th. Also talk about work comp fraud on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Johnny, are we good to proceed? All right, everyone please stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, always helping you win in your real estate deals with your buying, selling, or investing. We'd love to help you. We're a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and my wife Lindsay and I own and operate our team, the Platinum MVP team, and we like to feature our real estate listings live on air. We got a hot condo listing at 700 North Osceola. This one is on the waterfront over on the Intercoastal Waterway, 700 North Osceola, unit number 405. This is a gorgeous condo right on the Intercoastal Waterways, close to Clearwater Beach. Gorgeous water views directly from your balcony, and it has all the updates that you would expect. Almost 1,600 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, king-size master suites, 2 suites that is. You got a bonus room, waterfront on the Intercoastal Waterway. Got a community pool overlooking the waterway too. It's just a gorgeous setup. Lots of community elements as well. Saltwater pool, gym, private boat dock, walking distance to downtown Clearwater. 700 North Osceola Avenue, number 405, Clearwater. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
You can also buy dirt as well. We got about a dozen vacant land listings as well right here in Tampa Bay, both for residential and commercial properties. You can see all of our listings, platinummvpteam.kw.com. By the way, if you want to reach out to the hotline, we got a show hotline. You can call or text. Maybe you want to ask Attorney Jason Kobal a question or any of our other 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice. 813-917-1894. Just call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Consumer advocate hotline, brhymes@kw.com. If you want to send an email, brhymes@kw.com. No spam. All right, so Attorney Jason Kobal in the house. January 6th commission, Kangaroo, a.k.a. Kangaroo Commission, I hear it called on the Steve Bannon podcast a lot. Talk to me about executive privilege and what's going on with Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro.
Well, it's very interesting as far as, the media has been making fun of Steve Bannon because all of a sudden he said, I will testify as long as I do it live.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, he wants to make a spectacle. They say, oh, he's just afraid because he knows his criminal trials, but he's trying to limit, what his damages are going to be from, they think he's going to be convicted as far as his sentencing. But what I see is part of one of his arguments is, look, this is not a real committee conducting a real trial or hearing or fact-finding mission. This is a produced show. I mean, there's a Hollywood producer they hired who's putting on a show.
Yep.
And to prove that that's the case, he said, all right, I will go and testify. You subpoena me. I'll show up and testify. And they will not do it. I called it as soon as he said that. They're never going to allow that. Why? Because they don't want him to be getting questioned and not know what he's going to say.
Exactly.
Because this isn't about finding facts.
Yeah.
This is about putting on a show.
Exactly.
So that's why they won't let him testify live. They don't have the guts to do that because this isn't about trying to find information about.
Yeah.
They want to talk to him in private, record it, and then edit it and only show bits and pieces because it's all a show. to try to convince people that Trump committed a crime, which is ridiculous. And personally, you see on the media, they're like, oh, the walls are closing in and, they're going to refer. I don't think the DOJ is even thinking about it because I don't think they could prove criminal intent.
Look at what they've done. I mean, the weaponization of all of the different alphabet names. I mean, they're there. DOJ, FBI. Arresting media people. The Russia collusion
was terrible.
They leg shanked them and everything. I mean,
yeah. But going back to, I'm sorry I got off on a tangent. As far as executive privilege, it's a little complicated. The media's like, well, it wasn't Trump's to give because now it's Biden's. It's not clear. We would have to see how it plays out in the courts.
But he wasn't Biden's. He wasn't Biden's assistant or
right.
whatever.
Well,
he was Trump's assistant.
They're saying, and I don't agree with this logic, that because Trump is no longer president, that therefore he doesn't have executive privilege.
That's ridiculous.
I think that's wrong. We'll see how it plays out. But what happened was Steve Bannon was subpoenaed to testify and give some documents. Allegedly, President Trump told him, "No, I want to assert my privilege. I don't want you to do that."
Right.
And just recently, President Trump said, "No, okay, I'm releasing my executive privilege. You could go and testify because I think this was all."
Because he knew what Bannon would say. He knew that Bannon had his back.
I just think they both knew that this committee will never let that happen because they don't want to take a risk. Yeah, and they were right.
Let me ask you about something going on in Arizona right now. I've got a clip I want to play here. Arizona versus the DOJ. This is an interesting one, too, because in Arizona, they voted something along the lines of, hey, you got to be a citizen to vote.
Yep.
Okay. And now you got the DOJ, Department of Justice, our taxpayer dollars going to filing a suit against Arizona. Listen to this clip.
And what are those qualifications?
According to those acts, to cast a ballot in a federal election, voters have to fill out the official federal form, which has a citizenship question on it. Applicants don't necessarily have to provide documented proof that they're a citizen to complete the form, but they do have to attest that they are a citizen under penalty of perjury. So the DOJ says that Arizona's new requirement to provide documented proof of citizenship is barred under the 1993 Act because the federal form addresses citizenship. Essentially, they say that proof of citizenship is redundant and therefore an undue burden. According to the Justice Department, the Arizona law also violates the Civil Rights Act. The act prohibits denying voting applications.
All right, that's enough. It's ridiculous, right?
Well, it's unfortunate because each state should run their elections the way they want. And
Right.
That's what our Constitution implies.
That's right.
So I don't think that the DOJ, the federal government, should be, strong-arming states. They should be able to handle it, run their elections the way they want.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and especially if you look at the southern border, also what's going on. Mayorkas. I think they need to impeach Merrick Garland and Mayorkas. Number one.
It's
1,
hard.
2, 3.
It's hard to keep track with all the different disasters that are going on.
It really is,
and it's disturbing. At this day and age, after everything with 9/11, that we would just let people we don't even know who they are coming into the country.
Exactly.
It's really weird. And, the Remain in Mexico policy was probably one of the most logical policies I've ever heard of far as, if you have an asylum claim, go ahead and wait your turn there.
Yep.
You'll get your chance to prove it. And if you prove it, great. Welcome to our country.
Yep.
That's how it should be. But, of course, they, did away with that. So we'll have to bring that back in a couple of years.
So let's bring it back here locally. Jason Kobal. Jason's an attorney locally, folks. He can help you with personal injury law. He can help you with work comp law, any type of wrongful billing, essentially, where billing comes into play, Jason, especially in that work comp injured worker type scenario. And give us a summary of what you do and how folks can reach you.
Sure. As far as workers' comp, my one little piece of advice I wanted to share today, just because I always try to bring something that's going on at my office and bring it to the show.
Yeah.
I've had a couple clients get get accused of fraud. And now we're going to have a trial.
Right.
And they have to prove that my client made a false statement, but they have to prove intent, that the reason why this person made the fraud, the false statement was for the purposes of obtaining benefits.
Okay.
Anytime you have to prove intent, very, very difficult to do.
Okay.
So, we'll be fighting those. However, if you are involved in an on-the-job accident and you have a workers' comp carrier, do not lie to them. Be very careful because it's very serious. And in my career, I had one guy, I told him he should settle, and then he backed out of the settlement because he said he took his painkillers and he wasn't thinking clearly.
Oh, wow.
The court let him back out. He wanted his day in court, and he lost. And he had to go to jail for 5 years. So if you lose...
Wow.
If you get deemed fraudulent by a judge of compensation claims, it goes right to the state prosecutor, and then it's up to the prosecutor whether or not they want to bring charges.
Wow.
But I recently had a client that came to me and was nailed for fraud 2013, and then was being accused of fraud for the exact same thing that the person got nailed for in 2013. I was just like,
man,
can't help you.
Yeah, that's tough.
But yeah, so it's very serious. Don't take it lightly. You might think, it's workers' comp. You want to tell them whatever. You got to be very careful because you could actually go to jail. It's very serious stuff.
Yeah,
insurance fraud.
All right, they can find you at TampaWorkCompLaw.com.
Yes, sir.
All right, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Kobal, longtime friend of the program. Give him a call for your legal needs. And good stuff, Jason. Thanks a lot,
thanks, man.
All right, coming back, we got Nate Ginter in the house, Vine IT. He's our tech expert, all things tech for Nate Ginter here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, our feel-good story of the day, 17-year-old returns woman's lost purse and gets a $15,000 reward. Find out more right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martine Gramatica, Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, awesome. 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text, complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Every day we like to tell you something positive in our feel-good story.
Tell me something good.
All right, so you got a 17-year-old returns a woman's lost purse, gets a $15,000 reward. So a California team drove to a woman's house to report a lost purse. His act of kindness earned him over $15,000. Adrian Rodriguez found the purse in Ralph's in Chula Vista, California. The address was on the license on the inside. So long story short, he drives to the person's home. It actually ends up being an old roommate of the person whose purse it was. And then so she ended up posting online on Facebook saying, hey, do you know who this person is? They saw the Ring camera. They had his information. So they posted him on the Ring camera. And a lot of his friends were like, hey, is this you? Is this you? And he says, yeah. So he went to the ladies invited Marquez to the house of Martin. So Martin could say thank you in person. They launched a GoFundMe page in his honor. The online fundraiser has received 677 donations totaling $15,145. And he says, quote, it feels good. I appreciate it. I really do. Everything everybody's doing, Adrian told NBC. My mom has always told me since I was little to always do the right thing when nobody's around. So when nobody's looking, right, Nate? That's when you're a true test of your character.
Exactly. And I thought for a second maybe it was just a simple matter of it being a Coach purse, which, those are about the size of a mortgage these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can run into a store in California and grab all you want and go out as long as it's underneath whatever the number was, right?
Or if you got 40 people with you, this is, one person is a crime, 40 people, that's that's an incident.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we didn't see that coming, so So we got Nate Ginter in the house, VineIT.com. He can help you with all of your business needs, your networking, your something wrong with the computer, all the different types of programming that goes behind those types of situations with all things tech.
Absolutely, and especially those business owners out there that think that they might have some security holes or they're curious. Give us a shout. We're always happy to give you a free consult. And because we deal with such a wide range of businesses and industries, a lot of times we might have a better workflow out there for what you're doing.
That's cool.
We run into a lot of situations where I go in and people are using 10-year-old little file servers here, and I'm like, it doesn't cost a lot, man. Google Drive is not that expensive. We've got SharePoint for you. It's all included. You're already paying for it. Let's start using that.
Let me show you how to use it.
Right.
Yeah, there's this thing on the top right side. You click on that, it'll show you your calendar. It'll show you all kinds of documents. I mean, but that makes sense. You're a consultant built in.
Absolutely, and we pride ourselves on a lot of individualized attention. That's what keeps people coming back.
And Nate, I love our segments because we always jump into some fun stuff, some juicy stuff. Let's get juicy here with it. So we got so you always bring in these great stories. Secret Service says it's aware of alleged Hunter Biden iCloud hack.
So there was two things that I found really interesting about this. First of all, that poor boy just needs somebody to manage his security. Hunter, if you're out there, give me a call, baby.
Yeah.
But that dude loses more data than Microsoft, and it's funny to me when you see these reports because. Some of these things, with somebody's iCloud getting hacked, that's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
With a lot of the modern authentication that's out there, and it's almost now it's becoming like a shell game where they go, well, we heard about some of this stuff before. Remember, we didn't believe you, and then you actually proved it, and then finally we didn't cover it. Well, because we didn't cover it then, a lot of the stuff's the same stuff.
Why do we cover it now?
Well, what stuff are we talking about? What is all this going on? What's the hullabaloo?
What do you mean? Because if I watch a certain news network, I don't know anything about it.
It's yes, and I think it is important when just like there's been other administrations where people have gone after them for potential business ties for family.
Yep.
When you've got what seems like good evidence anyway, that far more than we've had previously, that somebody might have been influencing public policy at the highest levels, to get certain things done that directly enrich their family. That's something that we want to know about, and I think that it's funny. The more it seems like the more evidence that's there, it becomes more evidence they just point out and go, yeah, but we already that's old news.
Yeah, we already looked at that. That's Russian disinformation, right? That's the disinformation stuff, man.
That will go down. So what Brandon's referring to is, when there were some things going on with the previous president, there were a group of very senior level, security consultants, former people from the CIA at the highest levels. They came out and said, this has all the markings of being classic Russian disinformation.
50 of them.
Yeah, like literally. And you're and if you were putting together a list of the top 200, all 50 would be on it.
Yep.
So it's very interesting to see that now when there's actual hacking evidence coming out for someone else, how quiet everybody seems to be about it, unless you're watching a particular news channel starts with F.
Yeah, exactly. And Newsmax, maybe Right Side Broadcasting, some of those. It's in the news, or what's the American news broadcast, America's Voice. But yeah, and then by the way, we just sold allegedly Biden sold 1 million barrels, was it, to China, directly to China? I mean, that when I heard that story, I was just like, what is going on?
Well, that's annoying. But the part that really bothered me is we're having a gas crisis in the country, and there were like 3 or 4 million barrels a week that were getting shipped overseas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, that's not why this is being released. This is being released because Americans are seeing some tough terms
from the strategic oil reserves.
Correct.
So we're pulling our reserves to give them to our enemies
to ship overseas, and I think some of that was bound for the Ukraine, which is something that I always say. Nothing ever divided England as much as the Falkland Islands War. Some people didn't care, and other peoples didn't give any. An expletive there.
Yeah.
To me, I get, you got to draw a line somewhere, but there's only so much that we're going to do. And when, people are having trouble making it to work, I don't think that's the time to
Exactly.
be sending things other places.
Americans are struggling. It's our taxpayer dollars in many cases going overseas. If you just joined us, by the way, we're talking with Nate Ginter, Vine IT, VineIT.com. He's online there at Vine IT. All things tech here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's our tech expert. Okay, next story. What to know about fake reviews when shopping Prime Day. I saw that pop up. I've never really heard of Prime Day.
So Prime Day is an interesting. It's mostly a PR thing.
Okay.
As with most of Amazon stuff, they'll shuffle around some things. They'll take $5 off, but then raise the actual quote unquote non-sale price $5.
Yeah.
So there's all that. But hey, that's been going on in retail since the beginning of time.
Right.
What is very interesting is one of the nice things about online shopping is being able to look at reviews from other people who've actually got the product. And,
yes.
When I'm shopping for things, especially tech related, I was shopping for a new cooler because my computer was overheating, and seeing those reviews from people who were like, hey, this is a hard one to install, but it's worth it. Those kind of things,
right.
Those personal experiences. Well, a lot of Amazon sellers have actually been posting, and you can see it when you look at the actual Amazon review.
Yep.
It'll say this review is part of a paid promotional product. So those people, you can pretty much just throw all of those reviews out.
Really?
They've literally just paid them to say something nice about them, which is a product that Amazon's going to have to really crack down on. Or, I'm sorry, a process that Amazon's really going to have to crack down on, because if you don't have any integrity whatsoever, when they've obviously noticed something's wrong, because there is now a special tag for it. Let's just pull those reviews. You can't pay people for reviews. That should be taken out immediately.
Yeah, and in the real estate space, if you have a client that you closed a deal for, hey, I got him a great price. Brandon and his team were reliable. They did what they said they were going to do, yada yada. And if you go to Zillow, for example, to leave a review there, you have to have a real estate property specifically. You can't just say to cousin Susie or whatever, hey, would you leave me a review?
Sure.
That sounds like it needs to be tightened up on some of these review sites.
It's absolutely, and it's not just Amazon, but Amazon, I have noticed it egregiously. I mean, if you look at any supplement, 75% of the reviews for that supplement are going to be paid promotional.
Wow.
And that makes it very hard when you
sort through.
I don't care if somebody gives it 3 stars. That the reason they might be knocking it 2 stars doesn't necessarily apply to me.
Right.
You might have had a bad experience with an installation of something, or maybe it wasn't for you. But at least let's get that honesty out there. I trust a 4-star rated product way more than I trust a 5-star rated product, especially when we get into the thousands of reviews.
Right.
How could it be that 10,000 people had a 5-star experience with your product?
Right.
There's no 3-4-star reviews. There's no 1 stars. Somebody's been doing some cleanup work there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we got Nate Ginter on the show here, Vine IT. Third story, Uber files whistleblower behind massive leak comes forward.
Yeah, so it turned out to be a European lobbyist that disclosed about 124,000 documents that they were privy to from Uber's internal communications. And I find the story really fascinating for 2 reasons. Number one, who here would be surprised by that? But it's also, so I was at a party this weekend. I used Uber to get home. Drunk driving goes down a minimum of 30% in every place Uber goes into business.
Exactly.
It literally saved lives. Mothers Against Drunk Driving has been around since, at least since I was in high school.
The 80s,
anyway.
probably.
And nobody ever stopped drinking and driving.
Yeah.
So, now there's the thing that's guaranteed to cut it down. And what do they want to do? Because of taxi licenses and things. So in New York City,
the taxi lobby,
it was $1.2 million to get they call them medallions, but a medallion to drive a taxi.
Wow.
And so
for one car or the whole company?
No, for one car.
That's ridiculous.
It could literally be in the millions of dollars. And in France and in some of those European nations, it was even worse. And what it was the horseshoe manufacturer seeing the car coming and going, we're going to force everyone to keep riding horses because this car is just going to kill an industry.
Yeah.
So rather than grow or evolve, they chose to fight it, and it just again, it literally saves people's lives.
Yeah.
It'd be like saying, well, we don't want black boxes in airplane controllers because, propellers tend to fail, and we run a propeller company. No, let's go after the thing that's going to really make a dent in some of the problems that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, that's interesting. These are all great stories, Nate. Tell us a little bit more about your company, how people can engage with you,
sure,
and what that looks like. And because you can actually remote into their computer, you don't have to show up physically. There's a lot of ways ways you can work with them?
No, in fact, the majority of our trouble tickets are actually resolved remotely, is somewhere in the high 90s percentile there. So what we do, we charge a flat rate, for people. And, if you're curious, what your rate would look like, go to vineit.com. You can schedule a consultation with us. And I always say you're going to leave with some good advice one way or another. No business is too big or too small. We do typically have a minimum around $1,000. So we find about 5 to 10 people is the typical office size where they get the most value out of us for beginning. But, we service people of all shapes and sizes, from single prop lawyers' offices all the way up to, insurance companies that employ hundreds of people. So we got a nice wide scope there for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And we always jump into some good stories here. And, I appreciate you bringing in these great stories, on the show. And
absolutely.
And, you're right here locally in Tampa Bay. You're down in St. Pete, right?
Yes, we are right in North St. Pete, right by Gandy Boulevard off of 94th.
Yep.
And just absolutely love being a part of the St. Pete community. We do the St. Pete Chamber of Commerce and St. Pete Bar, so we're cool. Getting known around town, which is
good
nice.
stuff, man. All right, Nate Ginter, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, always a pleasure, Brandon.
Another great show. Captain Will Smith Aviation, attorney Jason Kobal, and of course Nate Ginter, Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness, do something kind for one another, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.